We are out at Pond Camp in Wallkill, New York, out at the Borden Mansion. Pond Camp put on by Garden State Koi, who's out of Warwick, New York. They're our vendor. We buy a lot of product from them. We're at Pond Camp with 125 contractors, mostly from the East Coast, some from the Midwest, some from the Southeast, out here learning from our peers and teaching our peers about how we do things in Iowa. Tom Smith, owner of Garden State Koi, and I guess the creator of Pond Camp?
Yeah.
He's the reason we're here. So Tom, tell me a little bit about Pond Camp. You can talk about Garden State Koi if you want.
So it's our 4th year with Pond Camp. Initially, we wanted to get contractors in a kind of a low-key, fun environment, and we thought, wouldn't it be great if we could be kind of nostalgia and go back to when they went to camp, when they went to sleepaway camp. And so the first one was billed as a sleepaway camp, like, hey, you want to go back to camp? And everybody jumped on board. They all were in. And we went to the Poconos, and over 2 days we built incredible, actually a little bit out of the box waterfall. We worked into the night, long hours, forego all the fun stuff, and just really hammered down and built this waterfall. I think it was around 80 contractors. The next year we opened up Pond Camp 2, and it sold out in a day, and we ended up having 137 contractors. We had to build 3 water features. It was so popular. We can't have 100 people standing around one feature. And then also the wives wanted to get involved. So we started this whole Pond Wives movement where, hey, come with your husbands. We'll do things with you. Like, and at that first one, they did tie-dye, wine tasting. They had their little patio bowl builds. And so it was really a fun event, tied in with training, classroom learning, great networking, and in a low-key camp-like setting. You know, fire pits, stargazing, we had a fishing contest, all kind of cool stuff that when you went to camp, when you were a little kid, you did all these things, even eating camp food. Last year with COVID, we got shut out and we had to kind of pivot and do something on the beach, which was still fun, but we didn't do any build. And then this year coming back, you know, we still wanted to do the builds, but we didn't want to have it to be overbuilding, where that's all we did was just build morning, noon, and night. And so, although we built 3 features with 125 contractors on Pond Camp 4, there were low-key features: small pond, fountainscape, and then the Sawyer Mason memorial build, which was for John Adams' grandson, which we raised unbelievably last night during our swag tricky tray. $7,500 towards that foundation, which was really cool. It was just a ball rolling downhill, where it started with $500 and then we raised another $1,500 with the tricky tray, and the next thing you know, people just started throwing $500 in the till, 500 here, 500 there, 500 there, and next thing you know, we're at $7,500 to go towards a really worthy cause, which is John going around the country building these water features that people can sit by and reflect and take a moment and, you know, find some peace. I think this is the 3rd one, and I know that people here are going to sit by that feature and you know, kind of be one and really just reflect on how beautiful it is. So that was a really cool kind of takeoff. Next up is Pond Camp 5, which hopefully next year will be in the mountains of New Hampshire, converting a wedding venue into an aquascape kind of venue. So we're going to build a big waterfall, also do foreman training, waterfall contests, all kinds of hikes, and we're going to be in the Adirondack kind of setting with kind of camping out more. It will be in August, so the temperatures won't be a factor, but we're already planning ahead for next year.
So most contractors are pretty local. I say local, like Northeast.
So we had Virginia, Tennessee, a bunch of Northeast. I'm trying to think where else, you know, the people.
You got
I think
Michigan.
Michigan was here too.
So then we came up from Iowa. I think in the past you've actually had Harps route. Did Harps come up from?
Harps. We also had Bernie from California. We had South Dakota, Texas, Arizona, right?
So yeah, most
Florida.
of the guys are pretty local though. So
they are. Most
you get a
most
couple of us
that'll travel, and hopefully next year will be more of a, you know, like a regional training event, you know, and so we'll draw from a little bit further distance. and it's novel. You know, it's different. It's not going and staying in a hotel. We've all done that. But if I say, hey, you're going to stay in an Adirondack screened-in cabin for a couple days and, you know, help convert this wedding venue with an aquascape pondless waterfall, people are excited about it. And then Chris, I mean, that video is going to go viral of you doing the dizzy bat relay and falling down. Right now, insert the dizzy bat video clip. I mean, come on, like that just makes it, right? And listen, it rained this whole pond camp, which I don't mind. Most people don't mind. It adds that other level of like, yeah, it's not sun and roses and everything. And we would have done some different things. We would have eaten in the tent. We would have played cornhole. You know, we would have done more bonfires. But it poured for a day and a half. And so luckily we were able to get our long games in at the end in the afternoon on Monday. Tug of war, dizzy bat, the famous egg throwing contest, and the three-legged race. Everybody had just a blast. And so that's pond camp, you know, and it's the classes, it's the networking, it's, you know, sitting around the table and talking to people you haven't talked before and getting those couple of little tidbits that help you to grow your company.
It's experiences.
Yeah.
Life experiences.
Yeah. And hopefully, you know, you're leaving with friends and contacts that you didn't have for. Somebody that you could reach out to and say, hey, I'm on this project, I'm not sure what to do, what would you do here? And we see that happen a lot. This is a tribe, it's a network of people that all have the same goal of building, you know, world-class water features in people's backyards, and we all lean heavily on each other. And so Pond Camp allows you to do that.
I'm out here with Sean Frost from Naturescapes. We've actually been lucky enough to drag this guy out from the northeast section of the U.S. What? New Hampshire, man?
Yeah, New Hampshire. Yeah.
New Hampshire. We dragged him out in 2021 to help us on a build. But Sean ran this build right here. He ran it with Tim from Garden State Koi and Enrique from Garden State Koi, correct?
That's correct.
They were the main guys in charge, and he had a huge crew out here putting this together over
They
there.
did, yeah. Lots of help, lots of talent out here. Basically, what we did, we were given 3 urns, these scallop urns behind us, and they just want to do a 360 fountainscape. So the main viewing is kind of behind us as you approach the mansion here, and then the driveway kind of wraps around it. We want to do a little bit more when we started looking at it than just have the urns there. So we wanted to have some waterfalls integrated in there. So we elevated this. It's a commercial type situation, so we elevated this a bit it's more of a focal point. That allowed us to have a pooling area below the urns that spilled into some different waterfalls flowing off the sides. So that's kind of what we started with. We look at our rocks, we see what we have. You know, we take them from the other crews. If we see something they have that they maybe shouldn't have, we just take that. No, that's all good.
Yep.
A lot of fun doing this. You know, people go out in the woods, like Enrique, he goes out in the woods, finds this gorgeous log that we integrate into there, and it just, you know, lots of different minds melding together to make a really unique project.
Turned out awesome.
Yeah.
So lighting's awesome on it. I personally like that you've got, it's obviously one big basin underneath here, but you've got the 2 waterfalls, almost looks like 2 separate systems.
Right.
With the waterfalls done in different areas. They're disconnected on there, but they're actually all one system.
Right.
And then setting the urns at different elevations. Well done.
Yeah. So that whole area is built up. You get the elevation using aquabox, right? And then we put that bib liner in there to make that cooling area.
Yep.
And everything just flows back down to the center basin.
Just a big fountainscape on this waterfall. So we are at the pond build, led by Alan and Jack. We caught Alan here. He's going to go over kind of what the build is. Tom Smith from Garden State Koi designed this thing. put these guys in charge. They ran this whole build, so let's hear from Alan about what happened over here.
All right, so one of the cool things is the reason that Tom had Jack and I do this is because we had our boys here. So I had Nick, Jack had Anthony and Colby here, so it was kind of like supposed to be a father-son build, and that was kind of the cool part about it for us. When we showed up, there was just a liner dropped in the hole. He had this urn for us that we could do whatever we wanted to. So basically, this is just a 12 by 12, 3-foot deep goldfish pond. There's not a biofalls on it, but basically what's happening is all the water's getting pushed through all the gravel. There's gravel that goes all the way down to the bottom of the urn. Then we just cut some cool slots in there just to give it a different element. Because we finished so early and that the ladies were not using those patio bowls, we actually decided to put this in for a cool little waterfall, get a little extra filtration out of it, and just create a different element. It's only got one of the small 400 Ultra pumps in there, so it's low flow, which actually low flow, anybody who knows anything about ponds, is going to be a little bit better for filtration. So it was just a cool build, cool rocks. Too bad the water wasn't clear. You know, just in adding little things like we found that stump. We didn't put the stump in the water because over time, you know, that stuff's going to decay anyway. So sometimes being outside with some plants around it, it just creates more interest, and it does look more natural because a lot of times you just see things on the land next to water features. So
you guys mossed it up.
Of course, you got to moss it up. Because of the buildings, you know, we were counting on having some shade here at different parts of the day, so all that moss will just grow and take off, and it'll just create a cool element over time.
So we're at one of the 3 water features that were built during Pond Camp, and we're with John Adams. John Adams is actually in charge of this build. So we're gonna let John kind of walk us through this thing.
Well, it was an absolutely amazing build. First of all, we had great teams rolling through here. A lot of people had hands on this thing, and I think the history of it's my favorite part. So as a water feature artist, anything special, I mean, hundreds of water features we've built over the course of time. To get something with the history like this with stones, there's actually a picture of this rock in a different water feature in the late 1800s on the same property. Those guys reclaimed this stone from Garden State Koi, and they brought it over here. A couple of their teammates selected a few of the rocks and drilled holes in them. I mean, like, so many hands. We went and stole this piece of driftwood from the Sean Frost project over on the other side of the job site. So people who don't even know they helped out with this feature helped out with this feature. It was just great. I don't know artistically. I think we shared styles and time with a lot of us, but overall it's just a blending of a lot of good energy and everybody that's still out here working, getting this thing done, putting in plants. It was a pleasure to me to come out and do it. I was actually asked to come be a part of this before I had any idea that it was going to have anything to do with our foundation. And for me, I was all in then. And then when I found out they were actually going to help us do things that matter with people that matter, that's our gig, it made it even better. So this is one that's going to go down in the books for me and my memory banks as being one of the best projects I ever got to be a part of. I'll give you my bio. I'm John Adams. I own Modern Design Aquascaping, and I started the Sawyer Mason Foundation just over a year ago in honor of my grandson. And you guys can put a link up there to an actual video about him. But the whole story is we lost him. I had a bunch of friends in this beautiful pond industry that pushed me to do something positive with all of the sadness and grief that I was dealing with in my life. So I started the Sawyer Mason Foundation. And to sum it all up in a nutshell, our goal is to inspire the love of nature. That's our tagline. We want to build amazing healing water gardens for people who deserve it. So we select, you can go on the website and you can actually nominate somebody to be a recipient. And our goal is to take people who have been injured, that have lived a life of servitude to humanity, and create a spot for them where they can get better, because we know how to bring the magic and they deserve it. That's what we got. That's what we're doing. So we'll take any kind of help that you guys want to give us. We'll take spiritual support. We'll take financial support. You can send us an email and we'll put you on the list, and we'll give you a call when we're in your area doing a cool project, and you can come get your hands dirty if that's your thing. But we appreciate whatever you got for us. So you guys have an awesome day, and thanks for listening.
My one takeaway from Pond Camp this year is just a reminder that the Pond family is family. The tribe is one family. It was great seeing old friends that we haven't seen in years because of COVID, and like great making new friends.
I really took away that one of the best things you can bring to any aspect of your job or job site or products or anything like that is make sure you bring patience with you. Take a deep breath, look to see how you can help improve everybody else's deal and not just yourselves.
We like at Just At Water like to say that we're all a family, but it's really the whole industry is a family. So anytime you have any questions about anything or you're doing an event, you just reach out to anybody else that's done one similar and they're more than willing to help you.
What I took away from this experience was learning team unity. People coming together, everybody leans on each other to make something nice happen.